It's anchored in Milwaukee, the official FC Milwaukee Torrent podcast. My name is Luke, and I think we have a pretty fun one for you today. The Torrent in November unveiled a poster celebrating 12 key moments in the club's history. So today we're going to take a look at each one of those moments. Owner and founder Andy Davi is going to bring us through a lot of them, but we have some special guests that are going to check in and give us their memories and thoughts on what made some of these moments so special. We're also going to take your questions at the end of the show. But before we can dive into any of that, we have some player signings we need to let you know about. There were 2 for the men and 2 for the women. We'll start with the women, where the first announcement was a new face that'll be joining the team. Midfielder Monica Robinson was signed. Monica comes from the St. Louis area and looks forward to being a key piece of the Milwaukee Torrent women in 2021. The other signing is a very familiar face. FC Milwaukee Torrent are proud to welcome back Bonnie Lacey. The same as earlier signing announcements of Jordan Raleigh and Kelly Swenson, Bonnie Lacey has been with the Torrent since its inaugural season. Welcome back, Bonnie. The men's team also had 2 signings. Midfielder and number 6 Sam Novak was signed by the club. Sam was initially signed to be part of the 2020 squad, but that season was of course canceled due to COVID. With the 2021 season looking to move forward, the Torrent are excited to welcome Sam back into the fold and finally get to see him on the field. The men also announced a returning defender. Simon Fabricatore will return to the team, as both rosters for the men and women are beginning to take shape. We look forward to being able to announce many more signings in the weeks to come. In November, the Torrent unveiled a special commemorative poster. The poster consists of 12 different images that mark 12 incredible moments in Torrent history. The poster is going to be available exclusively at home matches at Hart Park in 2021, so keep an eye out for it. But we wanted to take this opportunity to go back in history and talk about some of these special moments and reminisce about why they're important to the Torrents and the players who are a part of it. Founder and owner Andy Davi has returned to the show this week in order to give us a little background on a lot of these events, but we also have a few special guests we are excited to bring to you who are going to tell you about their experiences in some of these moments. Moment 1 commemorates the initial founding of the team. Founder and owner Andy Davi reflects on the birth of the club.
Yeah, it was for me. I got a phone call from the NPSL saying that they don't have a team in Milwaukee anymore, if I could help, and but it needed to be really fast. I think I got that phone call January 6th, I believe, from Joe Baroni, who was at this point the chairman of the board of the NPSL, and we set this all together in 48 hours. The logo, the team name, and everything, and then obviously that we want to do this with professional players. Happened, like I said, really fast. I never really, it's always a dream like this, you know. You always dream when you're specifically a little kid, or one day you have your own club. What was in Germany, where I come from, there are no club owners. You know, it's a community who does it. While it's here a little bit different, even that the Milwaukee Torrent is a club for the community, and we open up more and more. That's basically how this really happened that fast, and the rest is now a 5-year history.
Moment number 2 was the first ever game in Milwaukee Torrent history, a 2-1 victory over the Minnesota Twin Stars in Minnetonka, Minnesota. James Weber scored the first ever goal in Torrent history in the 18th minute, and he joined us to tell us about that experience.
So it started off on a corner. Izzy, a teammate, was taking a corner, and we went. He sent it in pretty close to the goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper punched it out. And I was about, 8-9 yards out, and jumped up for the header and popped it over the goalie for that first goal. It was a pretty cool feeling, and he could tell by the team's reaction it was exciting and a big part of the history of the Torrent. I mean, I like winning, so anytime I can get us a lead, it's important for me. So that was in the moment. I was just glad that we could get the lead and try to hold on. It was a big first goal, and that was obviously a big win for the franchise overall, and set into place what is now the Torrent, and that kind of started it all. So it's, even now looking back, it's an exciting moment. I think we were just anxious to get rolling, and we were excited to kick things off for the Torrent. Everyone was excited to be part of this program. Be the first pro outdoor team in Milwaukee for a while, and to be a part of that was a big deal. So to just be out there on the field was a big part, and a big point in all of our lives, I think. I'm born and raised in Wisconsin, so that's anything dealing with the Milwaukee Torrent is going to be deep in my heart, being this is my hometown of Milwaukee. I've been played overseas and in different states, but to be a part of the Milwaukee Torrent was probably one of the biggest points in my career because, that's where I'm from. That's representing my people. So it's always going to be special to me.
Moment 3 was the culmination of a very successful first season for the Torrent. A victory over the Chicago Mustangs secured the team a perfect 6-0 record in the Midwest Conference and the Midwest Conference Championship. Davi was coach of the team that year.
Yeah, that year was our first year where we kicked the ball really for the first time, and wasn't that easy because everything came in late with other teams. So it was a provisional division. Still, being 6-0 in your first year where you don't know what to expect was for us really, really cool because we played against teams like the Twin Stars, who were already, I think, forever in the NPSL, and obviously had already a pool of players they can get players from. The Chicago Mustangs were at this point an MASL team that always played against the Milwaukee Wave. So we know they have for sure the good players. However, we made it so with the team that we had, we won all 6 games, and it was a great first season to be. And there were some great memories at this season. We played all those games at E-Line still, and we had, I think, around about over 600 people at the games. It was a great first season and a big milestone for the Torrent.
Moment 4 celebrates the Michigan Trophy, an annual battle with rival Muskegon Risers that rewards the winner with the coveted trophy. Since the trophy was created in 2016, it has never left Milwaukee.
Yeah, that was a big shout out to Matt Schmidt, the owner of the Muskegon Risers, who called me, and he also just started the Risers and said, "Hey, is there anything we can do home and away?" And he had right away the idea. Doing those trips over the lake with the ferry and all this stuff, and it also worked out because Muskegon obviously is. I remember when we drove there for our first game, we walked from the port to the stadium. It wasn't even a mile, so it was nice, and it's the name Michigan Trophy. I actually came up with. The trophy was created at a store here in Milwaukee. I remember that the kind of artwork for it was from Mike Justman, who did at this time the images for the Torn and was kind of our social media designer. Always nice games. Muskegon is a great club, great people. It's always great if you work with somebody who basically tries to do the same as you do, and it's always very, very nice to be there. I'm always happy to see those guys here, and looking forward of 2021 to play them again and keep that trophy here in Milwaukee.
Moment 5 is the establishment of the women's team in 2018. Jordan Raleigh has been with the team since its inception. She reflects on that first year.
I remember seeing something about it on, I think, Facebook, like a local station posted about it, and then quickly after, Kelly reached out to me, and she had already talked to Davi, and she was like, "Hey, are you looking to play over summer?" And I was like, "Of course, yes, tell me the details now." And then I got in touch with Davi, and he offered me a spot, and that's how it all started. I was excited, and nervous at the same time, obviously. Excited just to see a whole new level of play. Prior to this, over summers, a lot of the girls who were on the Torrent, a couple of the Marquette girls and Kelly, we were playing unattached summer leagues down in Illinois, playing high school girls. That was the highest level we could find to play during the summer, and it just wasn't enough. So when Torrent became a thing, we actually started to be able to see quality opponents, and I really believe after that first year, it was going to become a permanent thing. Just with, regardless of how our season went the first year, obviously we're a new team. I could tell that I'd be coming back many summers for it. It was intimidating. Obviously, we were still figuring out what our team liked, how we want to organize the whole situation program, practices, all of that. It was kind of chaotic, but it was necessary. It was also difficult with the level of commitment of girls. We had to find the right people because a lot of girls aren't used to basically playing a college level sport over summer as well. They're like, oh, I can go to a couple practices a week. Like, that's not how it always works. So it was just weeding out those, figuring out who's committed and all that stuff. It was not easy, but it was well worth it. It was so bizarre to me to have a coach bus take us out to Minnesota to play. You know, I didn't have to pay for anything. They were like, okay, here we go. We're going to feed you. We're going to take you. You know, obviously we didn't have a fan base at away games, but home games, to have people drumming, that was new to me, you know, to have that little fan section, you know, it started to feel more than just a college club game, you know, it started to feel pro, semi-pro, you know.
Raleigh is looking forward to a return to play in 2021.
I'm just excited to start playing again, just to touch that ball and be able to play competitively. I'm also excited to hopefully get a little revenge, you know, get those wins that we didn't get the last season we played. There was a couple that we should have had, and I think we'll have them this year.
What advice does Raleigh have for the girls in the stands watching her play?
Don't stop loving the game. That's important. If you love it, it'll take you amazing places. And just keep working at it. You know, if you never know what opportunity is going to come next. I thought after college I'd be done, and the Torrent has provided me an opportunity to keep on playing. So just don't settle and just love the game.
The women also take center stage in Moment 6, which in May of 2018, they played their first ever game. It was a 1-0 win for the women, who secured that victory when Maria Downs tallied the first goal and the first game winner in FC Milwaukee Torrent women's history.
Yeah, I remember that like yesterday. That was actually a scrimmage against North Shore United, Mix U18, U19. Again, first time, don't know what to expect. We had tryouts where we had some ladies who are out of college, and obviously we have the college ladies, but you never know what to expect in that first game, right? So I think that game winner was in the 86th minute. It was a good game, even though it was obviously U18, U19, but I think it was also all college kids. For North Shore, the game was played in Hart Park. And the funny thing about this is that Mariah, she also scored the first official game for the women when we played at Fire 98, what is up in Minnesota. And I remember that game, it was like 102 degrees. It was so painful to play, and the ladies they just really did a great job at this game. And Mariah scored both goals. The first goal ever, and then also the first official goal in the WPSL. So it was very meant a lot to me that we added the women, and obviously then the first goals. It was always, first goal is always very special. So.
Moment 7 emphasizes the partnership between FC Milwaukee Torrent and sister club Bayer Leverkusen in Germany. Together, the clubs have run an annual camp for kids with over 100 camp scholarships being awarded to Milwaukee athletes. Bayer Leverkusen youth coach Peter Quast tells us more about the camps and working with Milwaukee's youth.
Well, the camp is quite well organized by Andy, and as you know, and the good thing is that we have a lot of mixed players. You know, we have some good players, we have some talented players, we have some schools kids, you know. So, and I mean, we are all well-educated coaches from Bayer Leverkusen. We are all academy coaches. That means that we have good options to make a good mix on training sessions for the kids, you know, so that everybody can get the feeling how the way it works, you know. And I think that is the best for the kids as such, you know. I mean, for the kids, they expected a lot, but we do not forget, these are not academy players. That means that the quality of these kids is quite different, you know, and we have to find a way to coach them quite well so that we have the mix. I mean, that we have to take action on kids which are a little bit weaker and kids which playing a little bit stronger, So, and we have to find ways to switch them in different groups, by the way, so that everybody can really join the camp, and find a way for himself to get that what he's enabled to do, he can do on this way, do a lot of social projects all over the world. I have been in Vietnam, I have been in Rwanda, I have been in Colombia and China. So, and for the clubs, it's really important to bring their names out. All over the world, the kids, they watching the European Soccer League, they're watching England Soccer League, German Soccer League. We're talking about the strongest leagues in the world. And so I was also in Barcelona. I spent a lot of time in Barcelona to learn for myself, the way how they do it. I was in England. I lived in England for years, and I was to learn the way how they do it, So, and I bring all this informations into one philosophy from my side and also the other coaches, and bring it over to the kids, to find the different ways to learn soccer. And the social aspect for Leverkusen is that important that we stay in properly cooperation, Andy, with Bayer Leverkusen, and it was very important for him so that we can support him very well. My favorite part is to give. I'm coming from an academy. That means that that is very high level, And if I come and join the kids, I feel for myself that it's a wonderful experience to get to the basics again, and bring all my knowledge and all my informations I got from all over the world into these camps, and give the kids the feeling soccer is wonderful, is beautiful to spend the free time for them to come in this week, So and this is. That's why I'm come all the years, So I do it now in the 9th years, and I'm one of the beginners. I start from 2008 or 9. I don't know what it was. So and that is always a really, really big experience for me.
Moment 8 celebrates the Members Cup competition, which saw Milwaukee take on such well-regarded clubs as Chattanooga FC, Detroit City FC, and the historic New York Cosmos.
Yeah, this was a piece of work, and we spent a lot of money, and it was worth every cent, just because of the memories we made. There were so many great memories. I remember the first meetings where I was flying, invited to New York, and sit at the table. At this point, also Miami FC was on the table. There were several other clubs on the table where I was thinking, and where I met owners, where I was thinking, oh boy, when you talk about like Rocco Cosimo, the owner from New York, or Ricardo Silva, the owner from Miami FC, and then there is, I don't want to underestimate myself, but then there's like little Andy Davi, and when you talk with the people or the employees and about the budgets that they have and what they're planning to do. I remember the first night we went into a restaurant. When I saw that restaurant bill that fortunately the New York Cosmos paid for, I think it was 7 people, and it was a four-digit number. That was just from those meetings. So we had like 3 meetings all in New York where we really discussed this, and it was just a great opportunity to be with like Detroit, Chattanooga, the Cosmos, but even also Napa Valley or the Michigan Stars, who ended this up. It was really tough to set the Members Cup up. It was an unbelievable experience with those away trips, flying to New York, flying to Napa Valley, flying to Chattanooga, the game in Detroit where we won. It was just all great memories with a great team. And I think we gained a lot of respect that we pulled that off and always most important. First, I think respect that we did it in the whole soccer community. Then how we performed on the field with, if you compare the budgets between all those teams and then us. But then also with those owners in general, because from the first day I said, yes, we are, and you can count on us. And that we really went through. There were other clubs with a much, much higher budget who just bailed, who couldn't do it. And I think it was a very important milestone for the Milwaukee Torrent doing this.
We move to moment 9, where the Torrent made history by scoring the first ever goal in Members Cup play. It was a 2-0 win versus Napa Valley 1839 in Wauwatosa.
Yeah, that was Francisco Filippi with a header after a corner. Well, again, it's always when you are in a new competition, if you do something new, even that it was NPSL, but it was the Members Cup first game, even that we have all those scrimmages before, you have a good team. But when it's the first game, you just don't know what to expect. And Napa Valley also obviously a great team with Arik, with a great owner who I call a dear friend of mine now. It was great. It was great to have that moment, to have that first goal right away combined with the first win in the Members Cup, and we were all pretty happy. I remember that goal was scored when I was in the commentary booth with Simon Proman, and I was very loud when that goal happened. But it was a great moment, and I think for everybody who was there and experienced that, a great feeling.
Moment 10 was a heart-pounding thriller as the men's team traveled to New York City to take on the historic New York Cosmos. While it appeared it might be a long night for the men from Milwaukee, as they were down 2-0 late in the game. In the 88th minute, Jordan Gorman brought them within 1. Anthony Calesi scored in stoppage time to level the score. Calesi talks about that night.
The history with that club, it was a little bit surreal to be able to step foot in the facilities, to see the pictures on the wall, to know, some of the greatest players that have ever played the game have walked those hallways. Amazing experience. It was one of the highlights of my career. We're in New York. You know how New Yorkers are. They had all plenty of attitude and personality, and are very passionate about the Cosmos. So it was a pretty heated environment actually throughout the whole game. So both Jordan and I did not start the game. So we spent basically 70 minutes on the sidelines just chomping at the bit, ready to get in. The Cosmos had the run of the game. I think we were a little bit shell shocked at first. They're just so quality from the goalkeeper all the way to the forwards and everybody in between. So it took a lot of grit and a lot of heart, and that was kind of the MO of the Torrent that last year, is we were what we lacked in camaraderie at sometimes just kind of all be thrown together. We made up for in just pure heart and will, and that's really what it came down to in the last couple minutes of the game. I think the Cosmos got a little cocky and complacent, and Jordan and I were fortunate enough to get the call and step foot in, and it was just unleashing the dogs at that point. We just wanted to run and gun and make an impact. Jordan's goal a couple minutes prior definitely gave us a lift, and at that point we really felt like we can at least steal a point and get out of there, So with a couple minutes left, we were deep, we were pressing, and it's kind of a patented goal of mine, that the way I scored it. Going back, I guess I got to give Louis Bennett from Marquette University, my head coach. I got to give him a shout out here, because this is something he drilled in my mind, that anything from the waist down is a header. It's not a volley, and a lot of people make that mistake and put that ball over top. When Gani Vental, we knew what the play was. It was going to be a flick from Gani, and then we were just going to crash. And I just saw the gap, and I anticipated where that ball was going to land, and everything came together. Oh gosh, I can't even explain it. That truly was my biggest goal of my career. At that level, at that stage, at that point in the game, it was just a complete blessing to have to score that goal, and
we lost it. You saw everybody run on the field. There was yellow cards issued, from all the celebrations. And if you replay that video, I think I maybe even give the fans of New York a little shush at the end of that too. So, we went from on the ropes to, we couldn't be happier.
Moment 11 marks when the Torrent moved virtual by starting their own esports team.
Yeah, this with all this COVID stuff, we felt there's maybe something we should do, so that the name is still out. I mean, even that we're present every day on social media, it's just something different, right? I mean, you do things, you do player announcements, you do player videos. When the league came up with this idea, we said, okay, we are in. Didn't know, big shout out to Jaden Stevenson, who did all of this. Didn't know what to expect, didn't know how the competition is, or, I mean, at the end, we found out there are players actually playing who are paid players, what is fine. I remember we lost many games, but however, or all the games, I actually believe, I think we had a tie, but I think the players who played, they were in it with their heart. I'm really thankful for them that they did this. And again, it was something that we were a part of, maybe not as competitive as we were on the soccer field, but we were a part of, and it was also a great experience to work with that company who did this with esports. It was actually a company also from overseas, from England, who did this. And it was just a fun thing to do. I mean, if you watch on Thursday night at 10 o'clock a video game, over Twitch, what is a streaming channel for games, it was just fun and something where even I, as an owner, I was looking forward to, and even if it was a video game, but it brought us on a landmark where people didn't expect us, and brought us also many new followers out of the gaming world. So it was a good and fun thing to do.
The final moment 12, commemorates the recent rebrand, where we saw a new name, FC Milwaukee Torrent, new jerseys, and the new anchor crest.
I think we talked in the first episode all out about this. Just to add this up, I wanted to make a rebranding already after the first year, because I wanted that the logo is a little bit more, not a little bit, that it's more about Milwaukee. I always wanted to have the letters FC in it, but in the first few years, we were just not a club because we only had one team, and now at 2018, we had the second team. Now with the addition of the Super Y and everything we do, it's more like a club thinking. So that's why I was really into it to change it now. Like I said in the first episode, COVID, if you see it in a bad way, helped us because we actually had the time to do it. Because I think otherwise it would still not happen, because it was a lot of work with a lot of where you really need to pay attention at the detail. And when you're in a season, then the season is really the main focus. And something like this, you can't do a rebranding as a side job. That was just not possible. Talked about this. It was very well received. We sold already way over 300 jerseys, what is an unbelievable number. The jerseys itself, they speak for itself. I think it was 100% the right step to do, the right timing to do after 5 years. However, the first logo will always stay our logo, and you will see it here and there when we do specific things, T-shirt or jerseys in the future. But again, we are very happy with that, and it was the right time to do that.
The poster commemorating the 12 key moments in Torrent history will be available exclusively at Hart Park during home games, so keep an eye out for it. It's now time for Ask the Owner, where we take your questions that are submitted via Facebook page or the Twitter account at mketorrent.com, and we bring them directly to owner Andy Davi to see what he has to say. We have 2 questions today. One is from a longtime friend of the Torrent, Dylan Dooley, at DooleyMasterD, and Dylan asks, what has been the greatest accomplishment of the Torrent?
I think if you take those 5 years together, every year we did something new. we announce something new, and it actually happens. So I think if you look at the model that we have, if you compare it to other clubs who pay the players or whatever they do, that's an outstanding, I think, accomplishment that we did through those 5 years. Beside that, off the field, our community engagement. I'm personally very proud of how engaged we are with all the stuff we do for the Boys and Girls Club on a daily basis, even during Corona, where we send videos, practice videos, and everything. This is something that I'm very proud of, and there is nothing specific that I want to pick out of what did we really accomplish in the five years. You have to see this as a whole package, because every year was something new and every year it worked. And I hope, and all of our board members, we hope that this will be also in the future the case.
Our next question came via Facebook. It comes from Kevin Jesme. I apologize because I probably pronounced that wrong. And this might not be a question you can actually answer, but I bet a lot of people are asking it. And it is, when do we expect a schedule for the upcoming seasons for the men and women's teams?
That is a great question. I don't know. Obviously right now we don't have any AGMs. I can tell you we have, at the end of the month, we have virtual meetings with the WPSL where we discuss a schedule, where the WPSL, they have like a kind of a draft of the schedule that then the teams can go off of, and then we basically communicate under the teams if we can play. The NPSL, they have also something similar in the making. For us, as all the owners, it's obviously a tough thing. And here are again to see how blessed the Torrent is with Hart Park, because many clubs, they obviously play at high schools and they have no clue when they can rent the fields. And I think many teams right now who are already committed, who paid their league fees to the league, their priority job right now is on a daily basis really contacting those high schools or option B and C, city stadiums when they can play. And I think right now this is the priority of the NPSL, that they get, and also the WPSL, that all those teams have a secure spot where they can play, and then we can think about the schedule. It will be maybe not as early as usual, what is February, March, but I personally hope end March, beginning of April. I mean, it has to be out by April because the first game is going to start in May. But as of right now, I can seriously tell you nothing is scheduled. There's nothing to worry about, only because nothing is scheduled. So I want to say that clearly too.
After 2020, just to know that a schedule will eventually come feels like a big step forward. So this has been the Ask the Owner segment. Thank you, owner and founder Andy Davi, for joining us. If you would like to submit a question for the next show, hit us up on the Torrent Facebook page or on Twitter at MKETorrent. Hey, that's going to do it. It's been another episode of Anchored in Milwaukee, the official FC Milwaukee Torrent podcast. We want to thank all of you for taking the time to listen to us. If you're interested in Torrent season tickets, please visit the website www.milwaukeetorrent.com. Otherwise, check us out on Facebook or visit our Twitter feed at MKETorrent. A big special thank you to all our guests today: owner Andy Davi, inaugural men's goal scorer James Weber, women's mainstay Jordan Raleigh, the hero of New York Anthony Calese, and Leverkusen coach Peter Quast. I'm your host, Luke Neitzel. This episode was edited and produced by Jaden Stevenson. We'll be back in 2 weeks, and until then, stay anchored together.